Before I tell you what happened in the black between the stars, I need you to understand something. This isn't a story about heroes. Heroes are the ones who get parades. Heroes are the ones who die quickly, with clean wounds and famous last words. I'm not a hero. I'm the woman who had to choose which 4,000 souls would live and which 200 would die. I'm the woman who looked at her best friend and said, "You stay behind," knowing she'd never see her again. I'm the woman who carries, right now, the weight of every unborn child in human history strapped to my chest in a cryo canister the size of a shoebox. You want a story about courage? Fine. But courage isn't what you think. Courage is the sound of your own heartbeat when you're the last one awake. Courage is giving an order you know will get someone killed because the alternative is everyone. Courage is looking at the stars and realizing they don't care about you at all, and then deciding to go anyway. My name is Captain Saravas. This is the story of the Odessa. This is the story of the last 7 days of the human race. The first thing I smell when I wake up is copper. Blood copper, thick and wet, coating the back of my throat. The second thing I feel is the crash couch straps cutting into my shoulders, holding me suspended at a 45-degree angle while the ship screams around me. Alarms. 3 distinct tones. Hull breach warning, atmospheric drop, and the low, rhythmic pulse of the emergency beacon. I know these sounds like a mother knows her child's cry. I trained on them for 12 years. Status report. I say, and my voice comes out as a croak. The ship doesn't answer. The Odessa. My ship, my command, the last hope of a species that spent its final days tearing itself apart, groans like a wounded animal. I twist my head to the left. Through the viewport, I see nothing but the bruised purple of deep space and the lazy tumble of debris. Metal shards catch the distant light of a dying star, glittering like the worst kind of snow. I remember the jump. I remember the warning klaxon, screaming gravitational anomaly 1 second before the entire bridge lit up red. I remember Commander Elias Chun shouting something about a microsingularity, and then the world turned inside out. Now I'm alone. No, not alone. I run through the mental checklist before I even try to free myself. The cryo bay is in the aft section, reinforced with 3 layers of carbon tungsten weave. The embryo vault is in a separate containment unit within that bay, shielded by its own power supply. Those 2 facts are the only things keeping me from screaming. I hit the release on the crash couch. The straps retract with a hiss, and I fall the remaining distance to the deck, landing hard on my knees. Pain shoots up through my patellas, but I welcome it. Pain means I'm alive. Pain means I can still move. The bridge is a disaster. Sparks rain from a shattered conduit overhead, and the main view screen is spiderwebbed with cracks. Lieutenant Mira Patel hangs in her own crash couch near the navigation station, unconscious, a thin line of blood tracing from her hairline down her cheek. Behind her, I see Specialist Dante Reyes sprawled on the deck, his left arm bent at an angle that makes my stomach clench. I crawl to Mira first. Check her pulse. It's there weak, but there. Her eyelids flutter as I press 2 fingers to her neck. Mira, come on, wake up. Her eyes open. For a moment, they're unfocused, the milky white of someone still trapped in the black. Then, she blinks, and I watch her come back online. That's what I love about Mira. She doesn't panic. She recalibrates. "Captain," she says, and her voice is steady even though she's clearly concussed. What did I miss? Just the end of the world. Again. I help her sit up, then turn to Dante. His arm is bad. The humerus is broken. Maybe the radius too, but he's conscious and swearing under his breath in Spanish, which is how I know he's going to be fine. Dante always swears when he's hurt. When he's scared, he goes quiet. Dios mío, he mutters, cradling his arm. Tell me the embryos are okay. Tell me we didn't just lose 4,000 years of human DNA because some cosmic pothole decided to ruin my Tuesday. The embryos are fine, I say, even though I don't know that for sure. But I will check. I will crawl through every twisted corridor of this ship if I have to. Right now, I need you to stay still. Mira, can you stand? She can. She does with my help. And then she's at the navigation console, her fingers dancing across the cracked display. I leave her to it and move to the comm station. Dead. The entire array is offline, which means I have no way of knowing if anyone else survived. The Odessa was the largest ship in the evacuation fleet. 12,000 souls in cryo, plus the embryo vault carrying humanity's backup plan. But we weren't alone. There were 3 other ships, the Hammersmith, the Nix, and the Calypso. We jumped together. We were supposed to arrive together. Captain, Myra's voice has changed. The steadiness is still there, but underneath it, I hear something I've never heard from her before. Fear. Not the sharp fear of immediate danger. The deep, hollow fear of bad news. I've got a preliminary damage report. The microsingularity collapsed our Alcubierre bubble from the outside in. We lost approximately 60% of the hull in the forward sections. Decks 1 through 7 are completely gone. I do the math in my head. Decks 1 through 7 held the main cryo bay, the one with 12,000 passengers. The aft bay, I say, the secondary cryo facility. Mira shakes her head. The aft bay is intact, but the primary bay, Captain, there were no survivors from those decks. The entire section was vaporized. 12,000. 12,000 men, women, and children who trusted me to get them to Proxima Centauri. 12,000 people who volunteered to sleep through the journey while I stayed awake, watching the stars tick by. 12,000 stories ended in less than a second. I don't have time to grieve. That's the ugly truth of command. The grief is a luxury, and luxuries are for people who aren't carrying the last embryos of humanity. The embryo vault, I say. Status. Myra's fingers move again. I'm reading life support in the secondary cryo bay. Power levels are stable. The vault's shielding held. Captain, the embryos are safe. I let myself breathe. Just once. Then I push the air out and get to work. We need to find the rest of the crew. Dante, can you walk? He nods, gritting his teeth as he pushes himself up with his good arm. I can walk. I can even fight if someone points me in the right direction. But I'm going to need a medic for this arm sooner rather than later. We'll find one. I grab the emergency kit from under my station. It's got basic medical supplies, ration bars, and a handheld comm unit that might still work. Mira, patch me into the ship's intercom. I need to know who's still breathing. She works her magic. A minute later, I'm holding the hand comm to my lips, and my voice echoes through the damaged corridors of the Odessa. This is Captain Voss. All hands, report to the bridge. If you're injured and can't move, activate your beacon and stay put. We're coming for you. The Odessa is still flying, and we have a mission to complete. Voss out. We wait. The ship groans around us. Somewhere in the distance, I hear the screech of metal on metal. Something shifting, settling into a new and terrifying configuration. Then, the replies start coming in. Engineering here. Chief Warrant Officer Park reporting. We've got 3 engineers alive, including myself. Reactor is stable, but we're leaking coolant from a dozen different cracks. Can't fix them all from here. Medical Bay, Specialist O'Brien. I've got 4 wounded, including Lieutenant Commander Foster. She's asking for you, Captain. Says she doesn't care if her legs are broken. She's not missing the party. That gets a laugh out of me. Foster is my XO, and she's got more stubbornness in her little finger than most people have in their entire bodies. If she's conscious and making demands, she's going to be fine. The reports keep coming. 12 survivors total, including me, Mira, and Dante. 12 people to run a ship that was designed for a crew of 50. 12 people to protect 4,000 embryos and the 2,000 living souls still in the secondary cryo bay. 12 people against whatever the universe throws at us next. It takes us 3 hours to get everyone to the bridge. The corridors are a nightmare. Collapsed bulkheads, exposed wiring, sections where the deck plating has peeled back to reveal the cold void of space below. I lead the way, Mira behind me with a med kit, Dante bringing up the rear despite his broken arm. He doesn't complain once. That's how I know he's in more pain than he's letting on. We find O'Brien and the wounded in the medical bay. Foster is exactly where O'Brien said she'd be, flat on her back on a treatment table, both legs splinted, a fierce grin on her face. She's 47 years old, with gray-streaked hair and the kind of wrinkles that come from a lifetime of squinting at distant horizons. She's also the best second-in-command I've ever had. Captain, she says, saluting from the table. Permission to say I told you so? Denied. What did you tell me? I told you that microsingularities were a real risk in this sector. You said the probability was too low to justify a course correction. And now here we are floating in a debris field, 12,000 people dead, and me with 2 broken legs. She shrugs. I'm not saying I'm happy about it. I'm just saying I was right. I kneel beside her, checking her splints. You were right. Happy now. Ecstatic. Her grin fades. The embryos, Sarah, tell me they're okay. They're okay. The secondary bay is intact. But we lost the primary. 12,000. Foster closes her eyes. I see her jaw tighten, the muscles working as she processes the information. When she opens her eyes again, they're dry and clear. Then, we protect the ones we have left. What's our status? I give her the short version. 12 survivors. Reactor stable, but leaking. Communications, array destroyed. Navigation compromised. Myra is still trying to figure out where the micro-singularity spat us out. Life support holding, but only because the ship is smaller now. Fewer compartments to pressurize. So we're drifting, Foster says. No comms, no NAV, a skeleton crew, and a cargo hold full of the last remnants of humanity. Is that about right? That's about right. She nods slowly. Then, we'd better get to work. The next 48 hours are a blur of duct tape and desperation. Chief Park and his engineers work miracles in the reactor room, patching coolant leaks with sealant foam and prayers. Mira manages to recalibrate the navigation array enough to get a fix on our position, and what she finds makes my blood run cold. We're not in the Proximus sector. We're not even close. The micro-singularity didn't just damage the ship. It hurled us across the galaxy to a region of space that isn't on any of our charts. The nearest star is a red dwarf, 40 light-years from anything resembling human territory. We're lost, Dante says, and for once, he's not swearing. He's sitting in the corner of the bridge with his arm in a sling, staring at the star map like it's betrayed him. We're completely and utterly lost. No, I say, we're not lost. We're exactly where we need to be. Mira looks up from her console. Captain, with all due respect, we have no idea where we are. The star patterns don't match any known sector. We could be on the other side of the galaxy for all we know. Then, we find our way back. I cross to the main display, pulling up the long-range sensor data. The red dwarf has a planetary system. For planets, 2 in the habitable zone. If we can reach one of them, we can set up a temporary base, repair the ship, and figure out our next move. Foster's voice comes over the intercom from Medical Bay. That's assuming the planets are actually habitable, and assuming we have enough fuel to get there, and assuming nothing else tries to kill us along the way. Lots of assumptions, I agree, but they're the only assumptions we have. So here's the plan. We rig the engines for a short burn, just enough to put us in orbit around the second planet. Park says he can get us that much fuel if we cannibalize the emergency reserves. Once we're in orbit, we send down a recon team to assess the surface. If it's viable, we start moving the Cryo Bay planet side. Dante raises his good hand. Question. Who's on a recon team? I am. You're not. Your arm is still healing. Mira, you're with me. Foster, you're in command while I'm gone. Foster doesn't argue. She knows better. But I hear the hesitation in her voice when she says, be careful down there, Sarah. We can't afford to lose you. I'm not planning on getting lost. The descent to the planet takes 6 hours. Mira pilots the shuttle with the kind of precision that makes me grateful she's on my side, threading us through the upper atmosphere, compensating for the buffeting winds, setting us down on a rocky plain near what looks like a freshwater lake. The sky is orange, the color of rust, and the twin moons hanging overhead are close enough to see craters. Atmosphere is breathable, Mira reports, scanning the readings. Oxygen levels are a bit low, about 15%, but within human tolerance. No toxins, no pathogens. Temperature is 12 degrees Celsius. Captain, this is actually habitable. I should feel relieved. Instead, I feel something cold settle in my chest. A planet this perfect, this close to where we crashed, it feels too convenient. In my experience, the universe doesn't give gifts. It sets traps. Let's not celebrate yet, I say, pulling on my helmet. I don't trust the atmosphere readings until I've tasted the air myself. We do a full sweep of the area. Check for radiation, seismic activity, native life. And we stay within visual range of the shuttle at all times. We step out onto the surface, and the first thing I notice is the silence. No wind, no insects, no barges. Just the crunch of our boots on the rocky soil and the distant lapping of water against the shore. The lake is clear. I can see the bottom from here, smooth stones, and what looks like algae green and brown. Water's liquid, Mira says, kneeling to test it with a sensor. pH is neutral. No heavy metals. Captain, this place is practically begging us to settle here. Which is exactly why we should be suspicious. I scan the horizon. Mountains in the distance, their peaks dusted with what might be snow. A forest is something that looks like trees, tall, spindly, with leaves that are more blue than green. And there at the edge of the tree line, a structure. I freeze. Mira, tell me you see that. She looks up. Her face goes pale. I see it. It's not natural. Too straight, too angular, too deliberate. A building, maybe, or the remains of one. Stone walls half collapsed, overgrown with that blue leaf vegetation. But the geometry is unmistakable. Someone built this. Someone was here before us. Back to the shuttle, I say, and this time my voice is sharp. Now, we're halfway there when the ground opens up. Don't remember falling. 1 second I'm running across the rocky plain, Myra's hand in mine, the shuttle 100 meters ahead. The next second, the ground is gone, and I'm weightless, tumbling through darkness, my helmet cracking against something hard. Then nothing. When I wake up, I'm in a cave. The ceiling is high above me, studded with crystals that glow with their own pale light, blue and green and a shade of purple I've never seen before. The air is cold and damp, and it smells like ozone and old stone. Mira is beside me, still unconscious, her face slack. I check her pulse. Strong. Her breathing is even. She just knocked out. I sit up slowly, assessing my own injuries. Bruised ribs, probably. A gash on my forehead that's already clotting. But nothing broken. Nothing that will stop me from moving. The cave isn't natural either. The walls are too smooth, too uniform. And the crystals, I've seen something like them before in old vids about xenotechnology. Bioluminescent power sources, organic and inorganic blended together. Someone built this place. Someone with technology far beyond anything humanity ever achieved. I help Mira sit up when she starts to stir. She blinks at me, disoriented, then looks around the cave. Her eyes widen. Captain, what is this place? I don't know, but I intend to find out. I help her to her feet, and we start exploring. The cave system is enormous, a labyrinth of tunnels and chambers, all lit by those glowing crystals. We find more structures as we go, doorways carved into the stone, platforms that look like they were designed for something to land on. And everywhere on every surface there's symbols, not writing exactly, more like diagrams, schematics, instructions rendered in light and shadow. This isn't a ruin, Mira says, running her fingers over one of the walls. This is a facility, a research station, maybe, or she stops. I see why. We've entered a larger chamber, and in the center of it, suspended in a column of light, is a ship. Not human, not anything I've ever seen. It's sleek and organic, like a seed pod or a teardrop, its surface covered in the same blue-green crystals that light the caves. It's small, maybe 30 meters from nose to tail, but it hums with energy, a low thrum I can feel in my teeth. This is how they traveled, I say softly. Whoever they were. They didn't use ships like ours. They grew them. Mira is already scanning. Captain, this vessel is intact, fully powered, and I'm reading navigation data, star charts, course plots, destination markers. This thing can fly, and it knows where it's going. I look at the ship. I look at the symbols on the walls, and I start to understand. They didn't leave, I say. They didn't die out or abandon this place. They built it for someone. They built it for us. Mira turns to me, confused. What do you mean? Think about it. A micro-singularity throws us across the galaxy to a planet that's perfectly habitable, with a cave system that contains a functional alien ship. That's not an accident. That's a delivery system. Someone wanted us to find this place. Someone wanted us to have this ship. But who and why? I don't have an answer. But the ship does. I feel it pulling at me, a gentle tug in my chest, like a magnet finding its match. I walk toward it, and the hull ripples as I approach, a doorway opening where there was no scene before. Captain, wait, Mira starts, but I'm already stepping inside. The interior is warm and dark, lit by the same crystals. There are no seats, no controls, no displays. Just a smooth floor and curved walls and a presence that I can feel but not see. It's not a voice. It's not a thought. It's more like a memory playing out in my mind without my permission. We were the first. We traveled between stars when your species was still learning to walk upright. We saw the universe in its infancy, and we watched it grow old. We seeded life on a million worlds, including yours. And then we left. But we knew you would come. We knew you would need help. So we built this place. We left this ship. And we recorded this message to be played when the first of your kind arrived. You are not alone. You have never been alone. And you will not fail as long as you remember what makes you human. Now go. Take this ship. Go home. The presence fades. The crystals dim. And I'm standing in an empty alien vessel, tears streaming down my face because I just heard the voice of God, and it sounded like my mother. I walk back out to Mira. She's staring at me, her face a mask of concern and curiosity. What happened in there? What did you see? I saw the truth, I say, and I saw the way home. We take the alien ship. Of course we take it. It's a gift, and we're in no position to refuse gifts. But I have Park, and his engineers go over it first, scanning for traps, for booby traps, for anything that might turn this miracle into a massacre. They find nothing. Just a clean, perfect, impossibly advanced piece of technology that responds to my touch like it knows me. We can't fly this thing, Park says, shaking his head. It doesn't have controls. It doesn't have a navigation system. It's like it's designed to be operated by thought. Then maybe it is. I place my hand on the hull again, and the doorway opens. I'm going to learn how to fly it. And while I'm doing that, I need the rest of you to prepare the Odessa for towing. We're taking both ships with us. Foster's voice crackles over the comm. Towing? Captain, the Odessa is held together with prayers and sealant foam. She's not going to survive another jump. She doesn't have to. We're not jumping. We're flying. I look at the alien ship, at the way the light plays across its surface. This thing is fast. Faster than anything we've ever built. Park, can you rig a tow cable that can handle that kind of acceleration? He thinks about it. Then he nods. Maybe, if I use the emergency mooring clamps and reinforce them with carbon weave tethers. But it's going to be close. Real close. Close is all we need. The next 3 days are the hardest of my life. I spend them inside the alien ship, learning its language. Not words, emotions, intentions, desires. The ship responds to what I want, not what I say. If I want to go left, I have to feel left. If I want to go faster, I have to want it with every fiber of my being. It's exhausting. It's terrifying. And it's the most incredible thing I've ever experienced. Mira stays with me, helping me translate the ship's feedback into something we can understand. Dante brings us food and water, his arm healing faster than it should. The planet's lower gravity, maybe, or just his own stubbornness. Foster coordinates the rest of the crew, keeping everyone focused, keeping everyone alive. And then, on the third night, something happens that changes everything. I'm in the ship, practicing maneuvers when I feel it. A presence like the one from the message, but different. Younger. More urgent. It's not a recording. It's alive. You're in danger. I freeze. Who are you? I'm a caretaker. I was left here to watch over this place, to wait for your arrival. But something else has come. Something that followed you through the singularity. My blood turns to ice. Followed us? Followed us from where? From your home. From the place you call Earth. It was there, in the darkness between your worlds, waiting. When you jumped, it sensed you, and it followed. I think of the micro-singularity. I think of the way it collapsed, our alcubi or bubble from the outside, and like something had grabbed us and squeezed. I thought it was an accident. I thought it was physics. I was wrong. What is it? I ask. What followed us? Destruction. It is what your species might call a predator. It feeds on energy, on the power that drives your ships, on the heat of your stars, on the life of your worlds. It is ancient and patient and hungry, and it is almost here. I pull myself out of the ship, stumbling into the cave. Mira catches me, holds me up. What happened? What did you see? We're not alone, I say. And I don't mean the aliens. I gather the crew in the main chamber of the cave. All 12 of them, plus Foster on the comm from the Odessa. I tell them everything. The caretaker, the predator, the danger that's coming for us. When I finish, there's silence. Then Dante speaks up. So let me get this straight. We survived the end of Earth. We survived a micro-singularity that should have killed us. We found an alien planet with an alien ship that can take us home. And now you're telling me there's a space monster following us that wants to eat our ship. Essentially, yes. He nods slowly. Okay, so what's the plan? I love Dante. I love all of them. But in that moment, I love him most of all because he didn't ask if we could win. He asked how. The predator feeds on energy, I say. So we're going to give it exactly what it wants. But we're going to make it choke. I lay out the plan. The Odessa will act as bait, broadcasting a high-energy signal that will draw the predator in. The alien ship will hide nearby, carrying the embryo vault and as many of the surviving cryo passengers as we can fit. When the predator attacks the Odessa, we detonate the reactor. The explosion should be enough to destroy or at least cripple the creature. And then we run. We take the alien ship and we don't look back. Foster is the first to object. Captain, that plan requires someone to stay on the Odessa to trigger the detonation. And that someone isn't going to survive. I know. I volunteer. Her voice is steady. I'm already injured. My legs won't heal in time for me to be useful on the alien ship. And someone has to do it. Let be me. No. The word comes out harder than I intended. You're my XO. I need you on the alien ship. I need someone I trust to lead them when I'm not there. When you're not there, Myra's voice is sharp. Captain, where are you going to be? I take a breath. This is the part I've been dreading. I'm going to be on the Odessa. I'm going to trigger the detonation. The protests come from all sides. Mira shouts. Dante swears. Park starts talking about alternative solutions, ways to rig a remote detonator. But I cut them off. There's no time for remote rigging. The predator is days away, maybe less. The caretaker said it's fast. We need to set the trap now, and we need someone on board to make sure it works. That someone is me. Soha. Foster's voice is soft now. You're the captain. You're the only one who can fly the alien ship. If you die, we're stranded. Mira can fly it. She's been learning with me. She knows the ship almost as well as I do. Mira shakes her head. No, I can't. Captain, I can't do this without you. Yes, you can. I cross to her, take her hands in mine. You're the smartest person I've ever met. You're brave, and you're loyal, and you're so much stronger than you think. You've got this. All of you have got this. You don't need me. You just need to believe in yourselves. Myra's eyes fill with tears. That's not fair. You can't give a speech like that and expect me to just let you go. I'm not asking you to let me go. I'm asking you to trust me. Trust that I know what I'm doing. Trust that I'm making the right choice. She stares at me for a long moment. Then she nods just once, and I see something shift behind her eyes. Acceptance. Not happiness. Never happiness. But acceptance. Okay, she says. Okay, but you'd better make that explosion count. I smile. Count on it. The predator arrives on schedule. I'm on the bridge of the Odessa, alone, watching the long-range sensors. The caretaker said I'd know it when I saw it. And the caretaker was right. It doesn't look like anything I've ever seen. Not a ship, not a creature, not a natural phenomenon. It's an absence, a hole in space, a darkness that swallows the light around it. And it's moving toward us with the kind of patience that comes from being billions of years old. Odessa to shuttle. I say into the comm, it's here. Are you in position? Myra's voice comes back, steady and clear. We're in position. The embryo vault is secure. The cryo passengers are loaded. We're ready to run as soon as you give the word. Don't wait for my word. The second that reactor blows, you punch it. Don't look back. Don't wait for me. Just go. Captain. That's an order, Lieutenant. A pause. Then, yes, ma'am. I cut the comm. I don't want to hear the goodbye in her voice. I don't want to hear the tears. I know she's holding back. I want to focus on the predator, on the trap, on the one thing I can still control. The predator is closer now. I can see it with my own eyes. A patch of absolute black against the stars, growing larger by the second. It's beautiful in a terrible way, like a black hole with intent. I activate the Odessa's distress beacon, cranking the signal to maximum. The predator will feel that. It will taste the energy and come running. And when it gets close enough, I'll trigger the reactor. But first, I have one more call to make. I patch through to the alien ship's comm, the one Mira set up. Foster, you there? I'm here, Captain. Her voice is rough. I don't like this. I don't like any of this. I know. But you're going to do something for me anyway. Anything. When this is over, when you're safe, you're going to take those embryos and you're going to find a new home. Somewhere far from here. Somewhere the predator can't reach. And you're going to start over. You're going to build something better than what we left behind. Sera promisme. A long silence. Then, I promise. Good. I smile, even though she can't see me. And Foster? Tell Mira she was right. About everything. I should have listened to her more. I'll tell her. But you're going to tell her yourself because you're going to survive this. You're going to trigger that reactor, and you're going to run like hell, and you're going to make it back to us. I don't answer. We both know I'm not going to make it back. The Odessa's escape pods were destroyed in the crash. There's no way off this ship except through the reactor blast. Captain, Foster's voice cracks. I have to go. The predator is almost on top of me. Goodbye, Foster. It's been an honor. Goodbye, Captain. It's been. I cut the comm. I can't hear the rest. I can't hear her cry. The predator is here. It surrounds the Odessa now, that hungry darkness pressing against the hull, leaching the heat from the ship. I feel the temperature dropping, feel the power flickering, feel something ancient and vast reaching out to consume me. I put my hand on the reactor trigger, and then I hesitate, because I realize something. Something the caretaker said, something that's been bothering me since the beginning. It feeds on energy, on the power that drives your ships, on the heat of your stars. The Odessa's reactor will create a big explosion, big enough to hurt the predator, maybe even kill it. But will it be enough? Or will the predator simply absorb that energy the way it's absorbed everything else? I think about the alien ship, about the way it responded to my thoughts, my desires, my intentions, about the crystals that powered it, and the way they glowed with that strange organic light. And I think about the embryos, 4,000 potential lives, stored in a vault no bigger than a shoebox. Not just DNA, not just cells, potential, possibility, hope. What if the predator isn't just feeding on energy? What if it's feeding on something deeper? What if it's feeding on the future? I pull my hand away from the trigger. Odessa to shuttle. Mira, come in. Her voice is immediate, frantic. Captain, what's happening? We saw the predator envelop you. We thought. I need you to listen carefully. The predator isn't just a creature. It's a force, a natural law. It feeds on potential energy, on the possibility of life, on the hope of the future. That's why it followed us. Not because of our ship, but because of the embryos. Because we're carrying the last chance of humanity. Then what do? We don't fight it. We can't. Fighting it just gives it more energy to feed on. We have to starve it. We have to give it nothing. How? Captain, it's already eating your ship. In a few minutes, there won't be anything left. I look around the bridge. At the sparking consoles, the cracked view screen, the emergency lights flickering in the gloom. At the ship that's been my home for 3 years, the ship that carried the last hope of humanity across the stars. And I have an idea. Listen to me very carefully. I'm going to eject the reactor core. Not detonate it. Eject it. I'm going to send it flying away from the ship, away from the predator, as fast as I can. The predator will have to choose. Follow the reactor and the energy it contains, or stay here and eat the empty hull. It'll follow the reactor, Mira says. It's a predator. It'll go after the biggest source of energy. Exactly. And while it's chasing the reactor, I'm going to take the Odessa, what's left of it, and I'm going to ram the predator's core. Ram it with what? Captain, you don't have weapons. You don't have anything. I have mass. The Odessa is still 1,000,000 tons of metal and carbon composite. If I can get it moving fast enough, it'll hit like a planet killer. And when it hits, it won't create an explosion. It'll create a shock wave, a wave of pure kinetic energy that the predator can't absorb because it's not the kind of energy it eats. Silence on the comm then, Myra's voice, small and scared. Captain, that's insane. You'll be in the middle of the shock wave. You won't survive. I know. Then why are you doing this? Why can't we just run? Why can't we take the alien ship and leave? Because the predator will follow us. It'll always follow us. It's been following humanity since the beginning, feeding on our wars and our fears and our despair. We've been running from it for our entire history. And I'm tired of running. I stand up, crossing to the engineering console. Mira, I need you to do something for me. I need you to take the alien ship and the embryos and the survivors, and I need you to go, not back to Earth, not to Proxima, somewhere new, somewhere the predator can't find you. Where? I don't know. But you'll figure it out. You're smart. You're brave. You're everything humanity was supposed to be. And you're going to build something better. Something the Predator can't touch. Captain, Sarah, please. There has to be another way. I close my eyes. I think of my mother, who taught me to read by the light of a campfire after the power grids failed. I think of my father, who died in the last war, the one that finally broke Earth beyond repair. I think of all the people I've lost, all the dreams that turned to ash. And I think of the embryos, for 1,000 tiny sparks of potential, waiting to become something beautiful. There's always another way, I say, but this is the right way. Trust me, please. Just this once, trust me. The calm is silent for a long time. Then Mira speaks, and her voice is steady again. I trust you, Captain. Always. Good. Now go. And, Mira, tell everyone I said goodbye. Tell them I'm sorry, I couldn't do more. You did everything. You did more than anyone could have asked. Maybe, but it wasn't enough. It's never enough. That's the thing about being human. We always want to do more. We always want to save everyone. And when we can't, it breaks us. I pause, but it doesn't stop us. That's the other thing about being human. We keep going. We keep trying. Even when it's hopeless. Even when it's impossible. We keep going. Captain Gomera, now. I cut the comm. I eject the reactor core. I watch it fly away from the ship, trailing plasma and light, and I watch the Predator turn to follow it, drawn by the promise of an easy meal. And then I fire the Odessa's maneuvering thrusters, pointing the broken ship at the Predator's heart, and I push the throttle to maximum. The acceleration slams me back into my seat. The hull groans, metal screaming as it's pushed past its limits. The view screen is dark now. The Predator's shadow has swallowed everything, but I don't need to see. I just need to hit. I think about the caretaker's message. You will not fail, as long as you remember what makes you human. What makes us human? Is it our courage? Our compassion? Our endless, stubborn refusal to give up? Or is it something simpler? Something smaller? The way we love each other. The way we hold each other's hands in the dark. The way we say goodbye, even when it hurts, because we know that goodbye isn't the end. It's just the beginning of something else. The Odessa shudders. I feel the impact coming, feel the Predator's presence pressing against the hull like a hand closing around my throat. And then I hit. The shock wave is beautiful. I see it in my mind's eye, a ripple of pure force, spreading outward from the point of impact, tearing through the Predator's body like a stone through glass. The darkness shatters. The stars come back, and the Odessa comes apart around me. I don't feel the explosion. I don't feel the cold. I don't feel anything except a strange, peaceful warmth spreading through my chest like sunrise. The last thing I see is the alien ship, tiny and bright, racing away from the dying Predator, racing toward the future. I smile, and then I close my eyes. I wake up on a beach. The sand is warm beneath me, fine and white like powdered sugar. The sky is blue, real blue, the blue of Earth, not the orange of that alien planet. And the water lapping at my feet is clear and cool and salty. I sit up slowly, expecting pain. There is no pain. There's nothing at all, except a deep and profound stillness, like the moment between heartbeats. You did it. The voice comes from behind me. I turn, and I see a woman. She's young and old at the same time, with features that shift and change as I watch. Sometimes she looks like my mother. Sometimes she looks like Mira. Sometimes she looks like no one I've ever seen. Who are you? I ask. I'm a caretaker. I'm the one who waited. And now I'm the one who thanks you. Thank me? I destroyed your ship. I killed your Predator. I did exactly what you wanted me to do. Yes. She smiles. You did. And now humanity is free. Free from what? Free from the Predator. Free from the cycle of violence and despair that has followed your species since the beginning. You broke the chain, Sarah Voss. You gave your people a chance to start over, to be better. I look down at my hands. They're whole and unmarked. No scars, no calluses, no signs of the life I lived. Am I dead? The caretaker tilts her head. That depends on what you mean by dead. Your body is gone. Your consciousness, your soul, if you prefer, is here, with me. Here where? Everywhere. Nowhere. A place between places. A pocket of reality I created to wait for someone like you. I think about the embryos. about Mira and Foster and Dante, about the alien ship racing toward an unknown destination. Did they make it? The survivors? The caretaker nods. They made it. They found a new world. A green world with blue skies and warm oceans. They're building a new home. And the embryos, they're growing. Children are being born. Humanity will continue. I feel tears on my cheeks. Real tears, even though I'm not sure I have a body to cry from. Thank you. I whisper. Don't thank me. Thank yourself. Thank the courage that brought you here. Thank the love that made you sacrifice everything. Thank the hope that refused to die. The caretaker reaches out her hand. I take it, and her skin is warm against mine. What happens now? I ask. Now you rest. You've earned it. And when you're ready, when the universe needs you again, you'll wake up. You'll have a new body, a new purpose, a new chance to make a difference. A new chance to save someone. Yes. The caretaker smiles. That's what you do, isn't it? That's what you've always done. That's what makes you human. I look out at the ocean, at the endless blue water stretching to the horizon, at the sun rising in the east, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. I like that, I say. I like that very much. The caretaker squeezes my hand, and the beach fades away, replaced by warmth and light and the sound of a heart beating. Not my heart, but someone else's. A new heart, a new beginning. Somewhere, on a world without a name, a child opens her eyes for the first time. She looks up at the stars, and she smiles because she knows, somehow, impossibly, she knows that she's not alone. Her name is Sarah, and she has a very long way to go.